ทันทีที่ไทยเราเปิดประเทศ World of Watches Thailand ก็มีโอกาสได้พบกับผู้บริหารจากแบรนด์นาฬิกาต่างๆซึ่งเดินทางมาเยี่ยมเยียนตลาดในภูมิภาคนี้และท่านหนึ่งที่เราอยากพบมากๆครับก็คือคุณวิลเฮม ชมิด CEO ของ Lange Söhne ซึ่งพร้อมตอบคำถามเราไม่ว่าจะเป็นเรื่องของนาฬิการุ่นใหม่ๆแนวทางในการทำมาร์เก็ตติ้งของแบรนด์การนำบูติกมาทำเองจากเดิมที่ให้รีเทลเลอร์ทำและมุมมองของคุณชมิดที่มีต่อการเติบโตแบบก้าวกระโดดของตลาดนาฬิกาในเวลานี้ครับสวัสดีครับ and welcome to Bangkok
Thank you it's been great to be back
ครับ You recall when was the last time you were here
about 2019 the very end of 2019
so just before things got crazy
my last big trip before we all sort of got grounded was in February 2020
Geneva was your first international trip after COVID?
It was actually the first one over. I stayed really home without traveling for 2 years.
Okay, I see. More or less the same over here.
I guess so.
I actually saw you twice in Geneva at Watches and Wonders.
Yes.
But at one time it was when you were on the stage for the CEO roundtable, so not possible to say hello. Another time it was at your booth, but you were receiving some guests, so not possible either.
No, Watches and Wonders, that's when the schedule is almost overloaded. So there's hardly any free time for us unless, somebody doesn't show up because he got stuck or she got stuck somewhere. But other than that, it's a very busy time for us.
So how was the show for you this year? You personally or the brand?
Yeah. Look, personally, it was good to be back. And I share with you why. We work on our new watches always in the secret. We don't share it with anybody.
Okay.
And there is no better moment than these first few hours when you introduce, you launch the watch, and then you see the reaction.
Yeah.
And there is one thing in seeing the reaction on a screen, but the screen will not give you that, I can touch the watch, I can put it around my wrist. And that is creating a magic moment. I always look forward to that first sort of 4 or 5 hours because it gives me then the confidence. Yes, the novelties are on the spot. That'll be a good year.
Speaking of novelties,
yes.
I think one of your biggest hits for this year must have been the Titanium Odysseus.
We had a theme which always helps us to structure what we do, and this year it was devotion to the highest standards. And there was an element of that devotion in all 3 launches.
Okay.
And for Titanium, for the Odysseus, it was of course the first time that we launched a watch in titanium. And then I believe what our people, the finishers did with the bracelet.
Amazing.
The polishing, because that's all done in-house because nobody can supply at that level finishing on titanium. And we learned a lot. So yeah, it's a new chapter. And I think I explained that before. The Odysseus is our playground where we can try out new things. We would never do that with the Lange 1 and with the Saxonia or with the Zeitwerk. This is Lange Söhne at its purest. But then the Odysseus is our little playground where we can go. Well, I would not really say we go crazy because that's not in our nature. But
a bit more adventurous.
Absolutely. Where we can try out things we would not try out
normally.
Strategically, we would not do that with our other watches.
But is the machining of the titanium parts so difficult that you were going to stop that at just one series of 250 pieces?
That's actually the reason for it. Yeah, because again, it's done by hands.
Right.
You need machines, but actually it's somebody that does it. And we have limited capacity. So we cannot afford to permanently have people working on that. We need them for other watches.
It will take them away from...
Exactly. So that's why there's a limitation of 250, and then that's it.
Are we going to see more complications in the Odysseus line?
We always said the Odysseus, as we launched it, will be a family. So we launched the steel watch, then the white gold, now titanium. And we will continue the journey.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Kat. Now, let me ask also about marketing visuals because Lange seems to have a very subtle and efficient way of navigating what I call the new unisex or genderless society.
Yes.
And I remember quite clearly your visuals from last year with the little Lange one moon face with the gold flux dial. You had pictures of the watch being worn by gentlemen and ladies, but you never said anything about genders in the text.
Yeah.
So this is something we can expect from you going forward.
You know, and we always did that. Yes, we had some watches where we put mother of pearl dials and diamonds, and obviously that's more targeted towards female. But generally speaking, the size of our watches is determined by the space we need to put all the components in. In many ways, that is then more for taller person or smaller person. That's a question of personal taste.
Okay.
We have no plans to start to distinguish between a men and lady watches.
Okay.
You know, I think we will produce watches that are in line with what we want them to express. And then, you know, some ladies love wearing very masculine watches, and some men like wearing diamond watches. But who
That is
are we
also
to?
big.
Absolutely. So, but I think that's you know, with 5,500 watches of production, we cannot cater for a ladies collection and a sports collection and a Chinese collection and a European collection and American. We would lose ourselves. So we working on watches for watch enthusiasts, for watch collectors, whether they are male or female,
Okay.
not up to us.
Right, right. I am reminded of 2018 when you first came out with the. You remember the Gyoshe dial for the little Lange one?
Of course, yes.
3 colors.
Yes.
And the press release intended for that.
Yes.
For those to be ladies' watches, and after maybe 2 days of the fair, people started saying, let's put a stop on that because. Well, a lot of people found it
It's the same
interesting.
with the Aventurine dials,
That
which,
too.
you know, on paper, we thought, okay, that will probably be more attractive for ladies.
Okay.
And turned out, I think 70% of these watches end up at men's wrists.
I would wear it.
Of course, I would wear it.
I would wear
did
it.
wear
I
it
would wear
actually.
it.
To tuxedo, no question.
But we don't have to be concerned about your brand becoming too woke or too liberal or anything like that, right? You're going to be very
as I said,
natural.
you know, we do watches in line with the different watch families,
Okay.
which are aligned to our brand DNA. And if these watches are bigger, then they're usually bigger for a reason because we need more space.
Okay.
If they are slimmer, then because, you know, we love doing it a little slimmer, like with the Grand Lange one, to distinguish it from the 38.5, the traditional Lange one.
Okay. Right. Perfect. The boutique.
Yeah.
Because I understand that from, I think it was the 1st of May, when it was the time when you received this boutique, you transferred the operation of this boutique
Yes.
in Bangkok back
Yes.
from your long-time retailer.
Yes.
So what was the goal in internalizing it as a corporate one?
Yes.
What has changed and what will not change?
I think we had a great partner and he served the customers greatly. But then, as you know, there was a change in ownership. And
Yes.
we realized
You mean on that side?
on that side.
Okay.
And we realized for us it is important to stay as close as possible to our clients. Because that also means our clients stay as close as possible to us. If there is somebody in between, it is always more difficult to talk and to understand each other. And I'm of the firm belief that in future, the brands that are closest to their customers,
Okay.
or the brands that are easiest to be accessed from the customer,
Okay.
will have a bright future.
Okay.
And for that simple reason, Thailand is important. We only have one point of sale in Thailand, and it will be only one point of sale in
Okay.
Thailand. And that I think you have to
Make
to
it
occupy
count.
the absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Will this change in any way your after sales service here? Like maybe something can be done over here for a change to a certain extent, or will everything have to go to Singapore for servicing?
I mean, the future we never know,
Okay.
but you have to have a critical mass.
Okay.
Because to service our watches, you need watchmaker, finisher, equipment, a clean environment, and it doesn't make sense if
To
you
have-
don't have the critical mass.
Okay.
Don't forget we have very many different movements, and a watchmaker need to be trained on each of these movements to service it.
Right.
So I believe that even in future, a lot of the watches will go either be served in Singapore or even go back to Glashütte.
I see. All right. Generally, it's not a too long process. in
We
the
do
beginning.
our best, but at the moment, logistics are quite impacted. So there is still, compared to what it used to be,
Okay.
time in transport is still a lot longer, and that is what we cannot influence. We
I see.
can influence on getting the watches quickly turned around once they're with us, but the transportation that is quite challenging
You
right now.
have to get
Yeah.
yourself an airline.
Almost, yes, you're right.
Let's talk about also the market boom
Yes.
of the past couple of years, the boom that is caused by COVID and everything. Do you see it more as a blessing or a threat?
It's both.
Okay.
And I happily share with you why. A lot of people came freshly into the watch market and they don't see watches like you and I see watches, like objects of desire. We wear it because we want to indulge ourselves.
right.
They see it purely as an asset,
I know
as
what you
an
mean.
investment class.
Okay.
I always say, if we bring in our new apprenticeship trainees, 1st of August, these are young people. It's a 3-year apprenticeship training before they become a watchmaker
Oh, you mean back at the manufacturing?
in the manufactory. And then, for the rest of their life, they are a watchmaker.
Okay.
And we need to make sure that there's always enough work for them. How can you do that if you focus too much on people that see you as an investment?
Who may
Sell
Leave
the
you-
watch tomorrow for another asset class.
Okay.
So that's the threat. So we need to distinguish between, who's our real investor, who is our real passionate customer,
Okay.
and who is just an investor.
But so how are you going to protect your brand from this situation? Because say, okay, if we call it a bubble, so one day it may burst, and
Yes.
how are you going to protect your brand from the negative outcome of that unfortunate situation?
I think what you see here is our best line of defense.
Okay.
It's the people in front that know their customer, they know the history of the customer. So they actually know, is this a real watch enthusiast or is it somebody that buys watches for the sake to resell them as soon as a certain amount of profit is developed. So I think that's still the best way of distinguishing between, I don't want to sound arrogant because we're not arrogant by nature. We're a watchmaker, really watchmaker, which means we're grounded. But to maintain and ensure the future of all these people, the craftsmen that work in our manufacturing Glashütte, we cannot bank on people that see us as an asset class.
Correct.
We need to stick with the watch lovers, the people that buy watches because they love watches,
Who are going to be
because
with
they
you
will
for
be
life,
around forever.
Yeah.
And that's, again, that's the line of defense, and that's where we want to focus on.
All right, Kap. And you are coming up on the 12th, right? 12th anniversary
Yes,
of your leadership
Oh,
position
yeah.
here.
I'm aging.
No, I'm not saying that. We're aging. I'm aging too. I'm 8 years in this job. I'm aging as well. So, what do you plan to achieve by the time you celebrate your 15th anniversary? Just 3 years away.
Oh, that's just 3 years
Yeah.
away in a world where sometimes you struggle to understand what is happening next month. Now, we have a very clear strategic direction and we started the journey. We want to stay as close as possible to our customers and clients.
Okay.
And we want to give them as much as possible access to us as well. So because it's not a one-way relationship, it's a two-way relationship. And whatever helps us in achieving this, we will support and invest and push. And whatever is a hurdle, we will remove.
Perfect. So thank you for your time.
Pleasure.
When you were
Thank
making
you.
this quick stop in Bangkok, and hopefully I will catch you again either here or maybe in Geneva next year.
Well, I'm back in the region in October, so maybe then.
All right. Let's have coffee or something.
Fantastic.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kam.
Thank you. Thank you.